G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you are here today because you know I am a very proud New South Welshman, and watching Wales play rugby does give me a little bit of joy, especially considering that the Welsh is actually on a little bit of a rise after firing Warren Gatland, and it gets me a little bit excited that there could potentially be an upset in the horizon against England in the grandest stage of them all, and this will be a very interesting, to say the least, setup for the final week of Six Nations coming up next weekend. Now, the scoreboard does make things look a little bit deceptive, to be honest. I thought the Welsh team was still very underwhelming. The Scotland team pretty much won the game. They scored 35 points with about 47 minutes on the clock, and they just pretty much, after that, they've taken Finn Russell off the field, and they've just pretty much cruising for the rest of the game, allowing the Welsh to score, three tries. I think three tries, in the last about 30 minutes or so, and almost had a chance to actually snatch this one for a win for the Welsh team. But hey, you can't really take away the efforts that the Welsh team has been building for the last couple of weeks. The new coaching direction seems to me is to focus on the fundamentals for the Welsh team. Under Warren Gatland, the Welsh team tried to do some of that offloading style from the New Zealand rugby. They've just kind of like dialed that back a lot to just focus on, hard carries, physicality, and just flap running, and then create, sucking defenders in with forward running and then spreading the ball wide to try and find space out wide. Just some of the basic stuff, and also having more experienced players like Gareth Anscombe controlling the game really gave a lot of the players around the Welsh team looking a little bit more comfortable, as well as a lot of the decision making is no longer burdened onto younger players like Thomas, right? And then it's gone to Anscombe, and it's just like, with his experience in the field, it makes a lot of people more comfortable around him as well. So definitely improvements from the Welsh, but still I think quite far from somewhere that, quite a lot of work to do to become like a fully Six Nation winning competitive team again. But definitely towards the right directions here. Now, there was a moment I think a lot of Welsh fans will be pointing fingers and screaming at. That is when Blair Murray seemingly set up Faletau, is that how to say the last name? For a try about 76 minutes into the game, and the referee ruled that Murray had illegally jumped over a tackler to avoid the tackle, and ruled the try no try. Now, here's the thing, right? World Rugby has actually clarified whether you are allowed to jump over a player or not going into a tackle. So they have actually said that. So we have to actually break this one down a little bit to see whether or not the referee made the right decisions, right? So first of all, there's some clarifications from World Rugby with regards to jumping over a player. So there's no law that actually says you cannot jump over a player. It just says that you cannot do anything that is dangerous, right? So World Rugby has actually ruled that hurdling a potential tackler is considered dangerous play, right? The act of a ball carrier jumping into a tackle, even if no contact is made, we believe that act is clear contravention of Law 9.11, which is must not do anything that is dangerous. So the World Rugby ruling of jumping into a tackle is considered dangerous and thus not allowed, right? Now, there's a very important point here that we need to consider. It's the keyword here, jumping into a tackle. Because we all know jumping to avoid a tackle is actually allowed, and we see this a lot. For example, how many times have we seen a player running, down the sideline, and a defender comes behind them and try to ankle tap them, and they just do a little hop and avoids the ankle tap? That is technically jumping in avoiding a tackle, right? So the wording is really important here from World Rugby, and they might need to clarify this a little bit, because that is still jumping to avoid a tackle, but that's not jumping into a tackle, right? Now, here's the thing when it comes to the decision with this, with the Blair Murray jump. Did he actually jump into the player? Which means it's a dangerous move. Now, he actually jumped away from the player, not into the player. So in my opinion, this is not actually a reckless, dangerous move. And I think the try should have stood for Wales. Because the fundamental, right, concept of this law clarification is that jumping into a tackle is dangerous. Thus, it violated the law 9.11 that players must not do anything that is dangerous. So the question is not whether or not he jumped to avoid the tackle. It's the question of whether he jumped in a dangerous and reckless manner that violated the law 9.11. Because there's no way that's in World Rugby law book that says you can't jump, right? Or jump to avoid a tackle. That's not actual wording. So it's about how dangerous the degree of the jump actually is. Because otherwise, everybody could just be penalized for a little hop for ankle tap, right? So I don't think this was dangerous because he did not jump into the tackler. He jumped away from the tackler to avoid the tackle. And I think this was a wrong decision by the Italian referee and the TMO team. And I think the try should have stood for the Welsh. Let me know your thoughts there. Now, there was another interesting incident as well on the Welsh end. So this was Ben Thomas. Is it Ben Thomas? Ben Thomas fending off Duhan van der Merwe with his hand. Seemingly a little bit of eye gouge happening here. Now, first of all, I don't think this is an eye gouge. I just want to make it very clear. I don't think this is an eye gouge, right? You can see that his fingers kind of curled here. And you can see that his hand is actually not touching his eye at this point. It's not actually, poking it in. He's just, his hand's literally just like hanging by the side of his face. Not actually poking into it. So it's absolutely not eye gouge, right? But the referees did review this and considered that this was a potential. He's pushing, yes, he's not actually poking in. It's just his fingers are limp here. So I think it's absolutely okay. But this is a very interesting. There's a very interesting dynamic here. Actually, should this be actually an eye gouge? If he actually deliberately tried to eye gouge from the Merwe and was issued a red card, this is actually a traditional full send-off with no replacement. This would not be a 20-minute red card. This will be a full send-off, and they will not be able to be replaced. So Wales will have to play with 14 players for the remainder of the game. A lot of people don't know this. I've talked about this a lot because that will be a deliberate foul play, a dangerous play as well. So it's in this situation, the player will actually be sent off without TMO review, nothing, straight red card from the referee, and he's gone for the remainder of the game, and no one is allowed to replace him after 20 minutes. Just want to clarify that for everybody, because a lot of people were just like, oh, I don't like the 20-minute red card, it changed the thing. 20-minute red card has not changed the thing. The traditional red card is still here, and 20-minute red card is just here for basically like accidental stuff of rugby incidences, right? And that is something that I think everybody needs to be a little bit aware of. Anyway, with that being said, let's have a talk about some of the other aspect of the game here. I do think that the outside of these instances, I do think that Scotland team looked really good when Finn Russell was on the field. But once Finn Russell came off, the tackling was really frustrating. The Welsh were just physically powering over multiple defenders, and the Scotland team was not fronting up physically in the defense. Whereas the Welsh, credit to them, their tackling was really poor in the first half and then got much better in the second half when Finn Russell came on. Whether Finn Russell was a difference or not, you could say that Finn Russell made it much more difficult to read the defense, but it is just a big difference in shifting how the teams defended after that Finn Russell exchange on the field. I thought the scrum was a little bit underwhelming. I was hoping that the Welsh scrum would deliver some of the big dominance they did show against Ireland. They did not do that. Finn Russell got his goal kicking correct again, so that's good. And then obviously, I think the giraffe man, Blair Kinghorn, was absolutely outstanding. I really like this man, and I think he might get the number 15 jersey for the Lions tour at this stage. He's just absolutely outstanding. The giraffe man. And with that being said, let's have a look at some of the match stats of the game. 5 tries to 4 for Scotland, 553 run meters for Scotland, 472 to Wales. 172 carries for Scotland, 101 for Wales. 13 turnovers are conceded against Scotland, only 6 against the Welsh. 137 tackles made by Scotland, 17 missed tackles for the Welsh. 242 tackles was made and 33 missed. That's a lot of defense for the Welsh. And yeah, they were able to hold on to a lot of that onslaught. 22 kicks in play. The Scotland team was very happy to run the ball, especially when Finn Russell was on the field. The Welsh, on the other hand, 30 kicks in play, was a little bit desperate in some of those scrambling. 662 kick meters for Scotland, 794 for the Welsh. And the lineouts was a little bit of a mess for Scotland, to be honest. I was surprised. 13 lineouts and 4 lost. Yeah, for Scotland. The Welsh was 100%, so really well done on some of the fundamentals. Like I said, the focus on the fundamentals for the Welsh team is starting to pay off. On the scrum as well, 2 and 5. No scrum lost for either team. Penalties considered, 11 apiece, and 1 yellow card to just absolute stupidity from Will Griff-Jones, the tight head prop. Stuck it. He was literally on the wrong. He was literally getting off the ground from the ruck and stuck his foot out to block the pass from the halfback. It was just like, come on, man. That's a yellow card any day of the week. It's almost like he hasn't played professional rugby before when he did that. I would have been a coach killer, and a lot of people probably screaming at their TV when they saw that one. Anyway, let's have a quick recap of what happened in the match. There was a early penalty to Wales 2 minutes into the game, and Anscombe kicked the 3. Wales was leading 3 points to 0, 2 minutes on the clock, but immediately 4 minutes on the clock, Scotland strikes back. The ball just basically passed down to the wing where Blair, the giraffe Kinghorn, striding down the sideline with his long legs. Anscombe tried to tackle him, just got a round over and then palmed over, and then Kinghorn goes in for the try. 7 points to 3. 10 minutes into the game, Duhan van der Merwe slips through a couple of tackles, popped the ball out to Hugh Jones down the wing, and Jones popped the ball back infield to Tom Jordan, went in for the second try for Scotland. 14 points to 3, and the Welsh defense is looking pretty bad at the moment. 23 minutes into the game, Anscombe is starting to show that wide he's a veteran. The Welsh were putting some pressure on. Anscombe saw the gap behind the field, kicked behind, and then Murray, the speedster, ran in to ground the ball for a beautiful Welsh try. 14 points to 8. 26 minutes of the game. Again, the Scottish team building close to the try line. Russell got the ball, just a little dummy. One of the defenders dummy, and he ran. One of them was going for almost like an intercept, just dummy, and then ran past him, and then passed the ball around the back of the defender to Darcy Graham, who ran in for the third try for Scotland. Just absolute magic stuff. 21 points to 8. Just before halftime, this was just stupidity from the Welsh. Ben Thomas got the ball inside his own 22. This was I think it was a line out from the Welsh. He got the ball and he was channeling Beauden Barrett or something. He did a cross-field kick pass from inside his own 22 and he overcooked it. So, what was his name? Blair Murray had to rescue the ball from going out by flicking it back in the field, back to Thomas, who dropped the ball. And then, what's his name? He dropped the ball, and then what's his name? Tom Jordan followed up, kicked the ball through for a try. 28 points to 8, just an absolute freebie. Second half starts as well. 7 minutes in the second half, Scotland had a penalty. They went for the line out, went for the ball, got pretty close. The ball came out to a little backdoor ball to Finn Russell, and he just picked out the big giraffe that was hurtling along the open field, and then Kinghorn again ran through a couple of soft defenders for the try. 35 points to 8. 60 minutes into the game, this is when Russell came off the field. Defense from the Scotland team is starting to get a bit sloppy. The ball went out to Thomas, and they were just pretty much really sloppy tacklers all over the place, and Thomas just ran straight through for a try. 35 points to 15. 67 minutes into the game, again, the Welsh were pounding really close to the Scottish try line. And again, I thought it was, again, a bit of a soft defense. What's his name? Rodri Williams, I think his name was, ran into 2 defenders and still was able to get past over the advantage line and reach over for the try. 35 points to 22. And then 75 minutes, we saw the jump was disallowed. And finally, in the last, the game was over and Scotland tried to play for some reason. And then Wales actually turned the ball over and got themselves a penalty. Wales went for the line out. They went for the maul. And then there was the ball came out there was a pass to Thomas. Thomas did a flat pass to Llewellyn. Again, there was 2 defenders there, and Llewellyn just ran through and still managed to plant the ball down through 2 defenders for the try. 35 points to 24, little too late, but the Welsh definitely had a nice comeback for some of their fans to celebrate about. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and appreciate your support. And let me know your thoughts about the law interpretation. And I'll see you guys a bit later for more reviews and the news for next week as well. Have a good one. Cheers.